Okay, then still on methodology, on the body of the report, we now come to chapter 3 now. Chapter 3 is talking about research methodology and the materials. Under research methodologies, you must write the methodology. The methodology you have adopted must be well spelled out. You must describe the method you have used. Now, in this project, I started by, using Protus 8 Professional to simulate the circuit I designed, and check the waveform of the generated from oscilloscopes. Then after that, I discovered that the system worked perfectly. Since the system has worked perfectly by simulation, then I went ahead to carry it out practically by implementing it on your board or breadboard, whichever way. Then that is methodology. You describe the methodology. Then you also describe the requirement analysis. Under requirement analysis, you need to describe the hardware that you use. In a tabular form, you can list resistor, the two you use to, you can list it, the software requirement, you use this software and the other software. Then you also tell us probably the quantity that you use for the hardware. Then under materials, you try to tell us under materials, you will write out all the materials and you give detailed descriptions. Wireless charger transmitter, you draw the diagram, you explain it, you try to cite what you are explaining as you are getting those information from those journals you have downloaded. Then wireless charging receiver module, 9-volt battery, Arduino board, LCD, and probably your wearable as well. Each of these you must also explain them vividly with correct citations. Then after this must have been done, we now go to chapter 4. We go to chapter 4, and this one is now talking about your design, simulation, and implementation. Here, you can then present your design, the simulation, and the implementation. Remember, this is different from chapter methodology. Methodology has to do with the description. But in this chapter 4, design, simulation, and implementation, you are showing us the design concept. You are showing us the coding you have done, how you have done the coding. You are presenting to us the algorithm you have written as well as the flow chart you have written. Each of these will be presented under chapter 4 of your project. Then we now come to under chapter 4 again. We also talked about testing and evaluation. Still under chapter 4, you tell us the test you have carried out and how you have been able to, the measurement you have done. Is it that you measure voltage and resistance? What are those things you have measured? You try to present your measurement also in a tabular form. Then how have you been able to test the code you have written? How have you been able to test your transmitter coil and the resistor and the receiver coil? How have you been able to measure the voltage, the current? Each of these must be explained. Then after that, you will then present it in a graphical way, as in by plotting the graph, and you show the graph. Now, after that, we now go for conclusion and the recommendation. So after conclusion, you need to understand that the next thing should be reference. So the conclusion talks about to round off the story of your project, to relate directly to the aims of the project as stated in the introduction, and also to indicate the extent to which the aims have been achieved, and also summarize the key findings, outcomes, or information in your reports, and also acknowledge some of the limitations to your project. So, and also make recommendation for future works, and that is that. We now have the reference, and if we have some appendices, you can then include those appendices as well. So with that, I think we have come to the end of this engineering and if you have any question in relation to that, you can ask your question.